So what would I want every parent to hold on to this Christmas season? What your kids really want for Christmas this year is not going to be what's under the tree. It's time with you.
Hello and welcome to Demystifying Child's Play. I'm Ruth Burko, and today I have Linda from the Thriving Home. Together with her husband Matt, they're a husband-wife team who help parents build deeply connected, joy-filled families, which is what I am all about. Through the Thriving Home, they aim to give parents ready-to-use, research-grounded tools that make meaningful connections simple and doable. And today, Linda is going to share about connection with your child and as a family, coming up to this important time of year, Christmas. Because while we may say that Christmas is all about connection, what are we doing to ensure we are actually connecting? So welcome, Linda.
Thanks, Ruth. It's so great to be here to talk about something that Matt and I are really passionate about, and that is connection. And especially Christmas, which is a time that we often really want to make that time to connect. But as we know, it's also a really busy season. So I'm going to share a few different ways that you can make this season.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's get comfortable, whether you're out on a walk, catching a rare moment of quiet, or multitasking around the house. Let's dive on in and explore connection through this Christmas season. Okay, so to start, you share that you and Matt are all about connection first parenting. Can you tell me what that actually is?
Sure. So connection first parenting is our practical, research-driven parenting approach that is all about connection of being at the core of everything. So it's built on more than 20 years of combined experience working with youth, research, and of course our journey in becoming. So across all of it, whether we've looked at behavior management, building resilience, self-regulation, attachment, any of it, it all stemmed back to one thing, and that is connection. And even more importantly, so that became the heart of our approach, and we teach it across 4 key pillars. So the first one is connection first, the main one. And so that's all about, connection before correction and connection first, behavior second. The second pillar is all about repair. Rupture's going to happen. It's natural. And it's actually a good thing because then you can repair. And it's about repairing well. And in that, you can actually model to your child that you are a safe and stable place. The third one is all about responsibility. There's a lot of sort of subcategories, but basically it's you as the parent are responsible for the relationship and the connection. You're responsible for building the connection, you're responsible for repairing the connection, and you're responsible for protecting the connection. And you're also responsible for self-reflection and ensuring that you're looking back at how you connected with your parents, grandparents, and ensuring that you are healing negative cycles or negative traits that you don't want to bring on into the. So basically, when we parent through connection first, everything else from behaviors to regulation to mental health, that all just comes.
So just before you get to pillar number 4, if you're listening and you're thinking, oh my goodness, these pillars are amazing, but I'm not going to remember them, don't worry, I've got your back. I'll have them on the show notes, which is online at playschemas.com/blog. That's play, schemas.com/blog. We'll have all the pillars as well as what Linda's been talking about and how to contact her and find her. So what is that 4th pillar?
So the 4th pillar is developmental awareness. And this is all about parents ensuring that they're educating themselves on where their children are at cognitively, so that they're ensuring that their expectations are reasonable. And this is really important for parenting, and because you need to be ensuring that your expectations are set at a applicable level.
Those are all so valuable. And that's what I've really loved when I've connected with her online with Linda, is that everything that she's doing through the connection parenting, connection first, is that I see exactly in play schemas and understanding your child's play and their developmental needs through that is when you're connecting with your kids, when you're really learning who they are as people. You're learning about how they play, what they do, and how to connect and work in with them, which is so exciting. And it's so cool seeing what Linda and her husband are doing. So with this, we're thinking about Christmas. You've got this thriving advent calendar, and I'm pretty sure it's not just opening chocolates every day. So what makes us different to that other advent calendars?
So the Thriving Advent Calendar is a simple but powerful way to turn December into a month of connection. So it includes 24 days of activities to do with your child that are about connection, but also about teaching that festive spirit and bringing in lots of the traditions that we all grew up with. So I came up with the Thriving Advent Calendar because about 2 years ago, I was looking for an advent calendar for my children. And most of the advent calendars out there are about instant gratification. So you get chocolates or trinkets, stationery, fun, but fleeting. And I wanted something that was going to be a little bit more deep than that and actually be something that I can actually connect and do with my child through it. And I looked online, I couldn't really find anything that was done well and, mostly planned for me. So I just created it for myself. So back to your question about what makes this one different. So there are three big things that make it different. The first is that it is about connection, not consumption. So kids still get the excitement of, opening a surprise every day, but instead of getting, a chocolate or a trinket, they actually get a moment of connection with you, which in the end is what they're going to want most. The second thing that makes it different is it also helps parents do their to-do list for Christmas. A lot of the activities are things that we naturally are going to do in the Christmas season or are going to want to do in the Christmas season. So thinking out, making and sending out Christmas cards, putting up the Christmas tree, wrapping gifts, making gifts, all of those things that, we may sort of find ourselves on Christmas Eve trying to do late at night. Instead of, the stress, having it as a stressful to-do on our list, instead it's wrapped up as connection activities throughout December leading into Christmas. And the last thing is that it's actually a done-for-you Christmas plan. So I think a lot of us really want to make Christmas, an amazing time for our children. We have fond memories of ourselves of doing things with our grandparents or our parents, and we want to bring in those same traditions. But it is a busy season, and before we know it, Christmas has arrived, and we haven't baked the cookies, we haven't made the Christmas mince pies, we haven't added on all those things that we really wanted to do, or even taught them about things like giving and generosity and what true Christmas spirit is. And so the Thriving Advent Calendar is your plan to ensure that your Christmas season is going to be one that you look back on and you're really proud of because it's filled with all the things that you hoped to make Christmas about for your children.
I love hearing about all of these. It makes me think about our lead up to Christmas as well. And I'm definitely going to be using yours this year because I'm listening and thinking, oh my goodness, so much less stressful already just hearing you've got them all planned and thinking about ideas of actually incorporating the making cards and the thinking about gifts and all those in that fun connection time rather than putting it on myself as a parent as my stress and my role and my thing to do, actually involving the kids, which is so good. For us, the tradition we have, which I actually took off my cousins, which I really love, it's every morning we have a little treasure hunt and that lead up to Christmas where then they find a key to open a box and in that box is a book. And that book is either one of my kids' own books that I've hidden away for the month before, so it's a bit new and exciting, or it's one of our Christmas stash, or I go to an op shop, which I've now got about 5 or 6 books, which are all like 10 cents to $1 each, to add to their book stash. And so every morning they've got a book. There is a new book for the day and then some type of activity. But I always get to when I'm putting the box together thinking, what is the activity? What are we going to do? So hearing that you've got it all sorted definitely makes me very excited about doing it. I was thinking about shorting it down to 12 days this year, but I think I might already bring it back to the whole 24 days.
You make a really good point when you bring up about you were just going to make it 12 days. And I think sometimes people could think, well, 24 days of activities, that sounds like a lot. I'm working. But the thing is, one, there are some big activities, yes, like making Christmas cookies closer to the time when you're probably going to be off work anyway. But then there's also really simple activities like doing your thankfuls. It's not going to take you very long. You can fit it into breakfast time or bedtime, that sort of thing. But you can also pick and choose. if you want to. It's all laid out for you. It comes with all of the cards that you need, which are like letters from Santa telling you what to do for every day. But if there's one that you're like, oh, we're just not going to get that one, then don't put it into the advent calendar, and just put something else like a chocolate or a book. Books are great. I love books. So, as much as I've created the plan for you and you can use it exactly as I've created, you can also, it's also flexible. You can also make it your own.
You've definitely got me sold on this. I love the idea of having that flexibility, but having something to lean back on. So I'm not quickly Googling or Pinteresting and trying to decide what to do last minute. It's laid out there perfectly for me with ideas I can just run with, which is so great.
Oh, and to add to that, we also have the Thriving Christmas creation. So basically, when I was creating the Thriving Advent Calendar, I wanted to make it as easy for me, but also as easy for all parents to actually spend that time connecting with their children. And so I had to try and think of all the different barriers that may stop someone doing that. And that's how I've created it. So that's why I have done everything from the ideas to the calendar to the providing all the templates for you. But then on top of that, I also was, testing out all of these different Christmas crafts and cards and creations. And so I was like, oh, I'm doing it. I might as well put it into a book. So there is, just as a side note, the Thriving Christmas Creations too, which is the perfect companion book to the Thriving Advent Calendar. So that if you also don't want to Pinterest any card ideas to make or what baking to make, then you can also get that book, and it gives you 50 plus festive step-by-step instructions for crafts, baking, cards, all the things.
That sounds so good. You're my type of person, just being able to lay everything out. So you've got everything there. Because while the wonderful world of the internet is wonderful, it is ogling and overwhelming, especially at a time of year when it leads up to Christmas. And there's so much mental load that we've already got, especially as mums and dads too. So having something we can just grab and go with is so good. And I think through what you've been saying, it's what I just keep on thinking about is my own Christmas as a kid growing up and what my kids, my oldest is 4, so he's got a bit of memory, particularly from last Christmas. He remembers the things we did. He doesn't remember particularly what he got. He's got a few things he remembers. And I think about me as a kid. There's only less than a handful of presents I actually remember who I got from and which Christmas I got them. More it's about what we did as a family, our family traditions, how we did. And I love this. It's something that can grow and grow and grow each year as a family and as a kid, and something to look forward to as a highlight of the year.
So bring up a really great point there, Ruth, in what makes us hold on to one memory over another. Why is it that we can, remember baking cookies with our grandma or open Christmas crackers with our uncle or whatever over what presents we got? Because I can't really remember any of the presents I got, to be and that is our hippocampus, which is the part that looks after our memory in our brain. What that does is it things that feel slow, safe, it's that feeling, that's what it holds on to. And so when we are having those sort of traditional experiences, when it's calm and it's slow and it's filled with love and connection, well, that is what your brain is going to hold on to the most, and that is what is going to become your core memory.
That is so good to remember. I just think the key word there I took is slow, is that we can speed up and it's so busy. So actually just taking that time to slow is so important. Okay, so it gets me really excited about doing this myself. Now, just to get my brain in the game, can you give me 2 examples of what we could do to connect with our kids during this lead up to Christmas, during this Advent season?
So I'm not going to give you any particular activities because I feel like the Thriving Advent Calendar does that all for you. But there are 2 really powerful things that parents can do to ensure that this Christmas season is going to involve, genuine connection with their kids. And one is to plan it in. So as the saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And when it comes to this busy season and wanting to connect, unfortunately, unless you plan in that time to connect, it's just not going to happen, or not happen to the level that you're really hoping. So again, coming back to the Thriving Advent Calendar, here's your plan, to ensure that you are getting those moments of connection in that season. And the second thing is to slow down and make space. So connection happens in the moments in between. So it doesn't happen in the doing of the activities themselves, but it happens in the being together whilst we're doing. So as I mentioned before, neuroscience tells us that the strongest memories happen when we're feeling and in a loving environment. So what this looks like for us is, let's say you're making Christmas cookies. It's not going to be about, oh man, we've got to do this Christmas cookies and we've got to try and make as many as possible and as quickly and as perfectly as possible. It's going to be about what is the feelings during that? How much fun are you having? How much laughter is there? How sort of relaxed is the important part of it is going to be. So that requires you slowing down, and it requires you making the space for that connection to happen within the activity. Because, far rather have two big blobs of cookie with a mountain of icing than have, all these perfectly created cookies with perfect icing that your kids have watched you stressfully do whilst they stand on the sidelines, like one's going to be a great memory, one's not going to be a great memory.
I completely agree with you there. And I think baking with kids is definitely a skill that you look into. I recently did a podcast episode with Heather from Bake With Me. And so if you are interested in trying to de-stress baking, go back and listen to that episode. And there's a freebie that goes with it. So if you go to playschemes.com/free, there's a PDF download about baking with kids. And I definitely know baking with kids when I've been teaching and then coming into parenting, as you're saying, it's about relaxing into it. It's about the process, not the product as much. It's about that connection, as I know you're all about doing it as a family. So there's 2 points. They were making sure you plan, because if you don't plan, you'll be not adding anything into it, and making sure you add that slow down time so you actually can connect, which is so important. I think this message really has been slowing down so we can connect, and then planning for the connection through this advent calendar and through other thriving products, because you've got other things to connect with your children as well and connecting at home. So if there was one thing that you wanted everyone to hold on to as we go into the silly season, what would it be? What would you really want to hone in?
So there's a quote that I love by an author called Edna Ferber, and it's, Christmas isn't a season, it's a feeling. And I think that's it. Your kids are not going to remember how perfect everything was, or, even what gifts they get. What they're going to remember is what it felt like to be with you. So as we talked about, when we think back on our Christmases, it's not the gifts or how perfect it is. It's what we're remembering is those moments with grandma baking, the crafts that we made, or the, Christmas concert we put on with our cousins. Those are the memories that we will hold on to as core memories. Why? Because they feel warm, relaxed, and connected. So what would I want every parent to hold on to this Christmas season? What your kids really want for Christmas this year is not going to be what's under the tree. It's time with you.
That is such a wonderful point to finish on. I think it's so key to remember in our consumer society, where there is Temu, where you can get everything for next to nothing, where everything is bombarding us right from October that we need to be buying our Christmas presents and getting everything sorted. There is a magic in gift giving in that way, but there is such a magic in that connection. There is such a magic in that feeling, in that slowing down, in that being present in this season and this time, whether it's summer or winter, depending on where you're at, being able to get cozy together and make those family memories and make those core connections, which will grow us as a family as our little kids become teenagers, as they become adults, and as they have their kids, which I'm sure Linda and me and all of you want that connection right the way through with our kids. And this is where we start, which is so good. So Linda, thank you so much for sharing all of this today. I know that I want to get myself in these epic calendars. So if people want to connect with you, what would they do?
All of our tools and books you can find on our website, which is www.thethriving.home.com. So on there, we've got Thriving Advent Calendar and the Thriving Christmas Creations, which we've talked about. But we also have our core series, which is the Thriving Together series, which provides you one-on-one parent-child date ideas that you can use to really, deepen the bond with your child. And then we also share daily inspiration, education, and encouragement on our Instagram, which is The Connection Couple.
Which, if you're not following along with Linda already, it is some really great encouragement and thought-provoking little bits every day just to think about how you're connecting with your children and connecting as a family. So thank you so much. Remember, if you're thinking, this is great, but I'm not going to remember this because I'm on the run, don't worry. I've got everything on the blog. which is playschemers.com/blog. You'll be able to get all the collection there. You'll also find it all in the show notes just below this episode as well. So thank you so much, Linda, for coming on. Thank you so much for talking about connection and slowing down as we lean into this crazy Christmas season. Hopefully we'll be able to make it a little bit less crazy. Now, I'm sure Linda, and I know for myself as well, if you're thinking about doing any of these activities or connections, make sure you tag her as well and tag me too. We would love to see what you're doing leading up to this Christmas time, how you're connecting, how you're playing, how you're being with your family, because we'd love to celebrate and maybe get some more ideas as well as you journey along. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week.
If you've ever wished that you had a group of parents who just get it, I would like to welcome you to the Play Schemers Collective. It's where you can ask questions without judgment, share those little wins only another parent would understand, and dive deeper into your child's play with people who speak your language. Join us at playschemers.com/collective for more information. We can't wait to have you on the inside.